privileged position to learn a thing or two. Keep your mouth shut and your eyes open.
Park all day.
I'm your huckleberry.
Say when.
Hey, welcome to episode 7 of the Raft Podcast. I'm LJ.
Okay, B. Our guest today is the one and only.
My name is Ty Tanner. I'm a redshirt freshman at Boise State University. I play inside linebacker, and I'm studying business administration. I can't tell you guys how excited I am to be here today. And, you know, even hearing those words, like the Raft Podcast, I'm just ready to rock and roll. Couldn't be more excited to be here, you guys.
We're happy to have you here, brother.
I love it.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit before we actually started recording, and Ty and LJ were like my first two MCOC themed Instagram friends. So it's cool to be doing this show right now with the two OGs.
I couldn't agree more.
Y'all can't see it, but Ty has the most badass MCOC shirt on.
I had to come out and represent today, boys. It's a big day. Anytime I get to talk about this game, because you know, around here, it's not exactly the biggest thing out there to find people who also love the game. And, you know, you guys are from completely different walks of life. To have a chance to come and just talk about, you know, whatever the heck we want to talk about, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, what you also can't see is that Ty's got a gray head of hair.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank Mom and Dad for that one. So, thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, our boy is frothing this morning. We have all these areas that we can dive down, but I would like to start. I would like to start with Boise State. How did little Ty go from Meridian, Idaho, where you grew up, to playing for Boise State? Walk us from point A to point B.
Absolutely, it's an awesome place to start our conversation today. I feel like, and I love that you guys want to hear about it. Growing up in my house, you know, my dad played football for BYU. So it was ride or die for the Y in my house. As I kept growing up and getting older, kind of made the shift about my junior, sophomore year-ish to bleeding blue and orange. And since then, that's what it's been. Growing up, playing football, you know, having the stadium just a couple miles away, I'd always go to games growing up. And usually we'd go when they'd play BYU, and it was super fun to watch because, you know, my dad and his work and just all these different people would come to see it. And I never thought much that I'd even be close to where I am today to have the opportunity to go play at Boise State, but played just down the road growing up, you know, the Pop Warner-esque kind of thing. We call it Optimus in Idaho. So started with that. From there, you know, middle school football, high school, and things didn't really start shaping up for me until, you know, my junior year. And I made the switch over to play fullback, which really helped me with my physicality and my mentality to, you know, help me grow to be a better football player. I don't know if you guys are much of football guys yourself, honestly, but that switch really helped me as a linebacker because it taught me more of offensive scheme and what offenses are trying to get done. So it helped me on the other side of the ball to learn and understand, you know, concepts and the way that offenses want to get things done. So my senior year, or just before my senior year, we all know what happens. It's COVID, right? World kind of shuts down. And during that time, I took it upon myself to really, you know, cut back on my diet and get in shape and, you know, try to be stronger and faster than I'd ever been. And it was going really well for me so far. And I had a coach and a bunch of different people that were, you know, really making an effort to help me out. And I definitely wouldn't be where I am without them today. Some of the people, there's a training facility I've gone to. It's called Off the Field growing up. And it's been so awesome to that. In my senior year, I got a couple messages from Boise State, and they'd been showing a little bit of interest, and I'm getting more excited and hoping. And as soon as I'd committed, we actually went through a coaching change at Boise State. So our head coach, who was Brian Harsin, and Jeff Schmedding, who was our defensive coordinator, left. And I was still a little nervous, you know, because I'm like, oh, I really hope they can offer this opportunity that I'd been given by the other staff, and then it had come through. Ended up going and taking the opportunity. So that's where, the Boise State story really starts. So dudes are getting thrown out kind of left and right with the COVID thing because they're, new to the area or whatever and different, whatever. That, that good old deal. And I'd had a great opportunity to learn from some older dudes on our team that helped me understand the scheme better and grow. And I just kept putting days together and focusing on one thing at a time. And as I started stacking days, it's actually pretty wild to think that I played it all in my true freshman year, which was last year. And it's just been awesome to see that. And I played against San Diego State my true freshman year. Got just a couple snaps, but that was really good experience for me to be in a big environment with a big crowd. It was awesome. And fast forward to this year, we go through fall camp and some different stuff like that. It's been super cool to see. Due to injury, I got the opportunity to play a lot more as far as linebacker, and I played special teams a lot this year, which was really good to also help me grow and develop as just a football player and a person in general. But that's kind of where we are today. So yeah.
You played football your whole life?
Pretty much. That's always been, the standard in my house. And of course I had to develop a love for the game just by myself alone. And a big part of that comes from my mom and my dad and, teaching me that it can help me with a lot of things outside of football, just life in general. It can help me to fight through adversity and, just make me mentally tougher. And I couldn't be more grateful for that.
Did you play any other sports growing up, or was it always just football?
For sure. Big baseball, big basketball guy. I mean, you name it, I love it. I'm just a sports guy in general. So, heck yeah.
I was just listening to one of the episodes on Joe Rogan's podcast. He had a guy, he's retired, big Scandinavian dude. He played in the NFL too. I can't recall his name, but he was saying how his parents had him in like dance classes so that he could improve on his footwork, and how it helped him create like these angles that no one else on the field was ever even used to.
Right.
Because he's coming in there with like the swag of a dancer. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is super cool, and I've heard of that for sure. I haven't done anything like that, but that'd be super cool. Yeah.
Got Ty's dance highlights on Instagram.
I don't know if we already got a couple dudes on TikTok that are viral on our team. I'm gonna leave that to them, not me.
Who's your pro team?
Ooh. So my dad went on his mission to Boston, Massachusetts. So I grew up a Red Sox and a Patriots fan. This last season, that was a little rough for the old Pats because, Tom Brady went and did his thing in Tampa, and now he's, right. I see KB over there just kind of giving the jazz hands. But it's been a little bit of a ride for sure, I'd say.
Oh, TB12 finally made my team relevant.
Yes, yep.
And Bucks, man, it's hard because I'm born and raised here in Tampa. Been a Bucks fan my entire life, and we've had I don't know, I'm 33, so we've had 3 good years that I can remember.
At least it's fun to have a couple good years, right?
That's true, man. And it's true. It's cool how Tom Brady came over, of course, first year, COVID. We get to play. If we make it to the Super Bowl, it's in our home stadium. Right. And this dude does it.
Yep.
What a goat, man. What a goat.
He is a beast.
The people at home can't see. We're not to the point where we're video recording yet, but Ty's not a little boy. Ty's, what are you, 6'1", 255?
What do they have me listed? I'm probably 6'2"-ish, 225, 230, around there.
Yeah, definitely a big boy.
Thank you.
You play middle linebacker right now, but did you start out there when you were early on?
Yep. So coming into Boise State, I got recruited as a linebacker, and I actually haven't had a position change yet, which has been super awesome because I've had a lot more time to learn and grow into this defense and just in general become a better player, which has been awesome and helpful for me.
But when you started out in say Pop Warner, all that kind of stuff, because me personally, I was the runt of the litter all the way up through high school, and you probably never guess it by looking at me now because, I'm almost 6 foot and I'm, 200 something. But when I was a little kid, dude, there's no way. there's no way that I would have been playing any sort of a linebacker position. Were you always a big boy? Were you always playing with those big boy positions?
Yeah, I think I've always had a little bit of more, size to me, which has helped me with physicality and just playing a bigger position, kind of like linebacker. So growing up, it was always linebacker, and I kind of hit this previous. And I'd played linebacker literally my whole life up until my junior year of high school when I made the switch over to go play fullback on offense.
Right.
Which is kind of like a tight end running back hybrid almost. If you guys don't, I mean, you're both smart dudes. I know you know. So playing fullback, like I said, that really helped me out honestly, and that was super beneficial to my career. I feel like.
Yeah, it makes sense. Learn the opposite side of the ball, so now you're more effective back at your true position.
Absolutely.
You can you're in that mindset of you're in someone else's shoes, so you can kind of anticipate where they're going to go.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. It definitely helped me, and I can still feel the effects of that today for sure.
Sorry for that. I don't mean to be redundant. I just so much stuff going on in the background. It probably broke my focus.
What's your favorite Ty Tanner highlight from your entire career, from playing like Pee Wee football, high school, college? What's your favorite Ty Tanner highlight?
Oh, that's a question for sure. I think my career highlight for sure would have to be playing against BYU. That game was pretty nuts. It was the most I played all year. Go figure. Like literally, of course, because I hit on it. It's like my dad played there, and I wanted to win that game so bad. That was the number one game I wanted to just. I was like, come on, we gotta win this one. And it made it even harder for us to, ended up losing that game. Like to be so close and to come down to the finish like that. Because I played almost the whole game. Our starting linebacker got injured, which really stunk for us. But I had an opportunity to step up and make a couple plays, which was super fun. So super grateful for that. That for sure would be up there in the top. I don't know if I could pick one, but playing in that game was so awesome. To see the full stadium and just feel the energy flowing right down onto the field and have the opportunity to just make a couple plays is awesome.
Your dad talk any crap after the game?
Nah,
No.
he was a good dad. He was just loving me up and all the good things.
Yeah, you might have a lot of teams, but you only have that one son.
Right.
Yeah, no, for sure. Me and my three brothers. Yep, we got It doesn't help that my little brother just committed to BYU too. So now my dad's got loyalties lying with both sides again. Like, come on, man. Of course this happens, but I couldn't be more proud of my little brother. He's a stud. Honestly, he's probably a better player than I am.
I saw you repping him on your Instagram. Raft, little bro.
Yep, for sure. I'll tell him.
You had 4 stops in Nevada. I think it was November 12th. That game, don't quote me on this, but I think that I saw that the final score on that one was like 41-4.
Yeah, something like that.
So a lot of people might not know this, but I went to high school in Sparks, which is right next door to Reno. So if we got a college where everyone goes, it's UNR. UNR has a huge rivalry with Boise State. I was getting to know Ty a little bit last night. We had a phone call, and that was one of the funny things that we talked about. I said, look, man, I'm just going to be honest with you. I grew up hating Boise State and tailgating and bro, I know what that town's like. It's not always so polite or welcoming to Boise State. How was your guys' experience there? What was your experience there? It's been awesome. Everything that I've had a chance to be a part of here, I couldn't ask for anything better. Going to Reno, that was my first time ever being there, and it being later-ish in the middle of November. It was rain and sleet, snow kind of started the game, and then it really started pounding on us right when the game picked up. That was a super cool experience to be a part of. To see those dedicated fans, being there, that was crazy to me. Like, there's snow literally just pounding on them. There's still people there. It's freezing cold. It was awesome. It was a crazy place. But I learned real quick at Boise State that the Wolfpack is no friend. We got some old coaches on our staff that made that clear real quick. So I honor that for sure.
It's been cool to just learn more and more as my time has grown at Boise State.
Playing in Reno can be tough for a lot of people because it's so high elevation. Are you guys similar elevation? I don't know much about Boise.
I think we're probably pretty close. The only place that that made that a huge, like, this is the place for elevation, I guess were two kind of places, was Laramie, Wyoming, and then Fort Collins, whatchamacallit, wherever Air Force plays. I can't remember the name of their stadium. I mean, they have it painted all over the walls. Like, this is the highest elevation stadium in college football, and that's awesome. Like, you walk down that tunnel and you see all the symbols of the flight teams that have, like, flown through there, and it's pretty freaking sick. And you got all the cadets over there just screaming and yelling at you. It's a cool experience to be a part of, and winning that game was awesome to see all of our team come together and play well and finish out there strong at the end with our defensive stand. It was a super cool thing to be a part of.
So training at a higher elevation, do you find that it helps when you go to places with lower elevation? My junior year of high school, I ended up going up to Washington, and it was much, much lower elevation because Reno's so close to Tahoe. And I remember my first time going to PE, all of a sudden, I was never much of a track star. You know what I mean? I grew up playing soccer and stuff like that. But when I got to that school in Washington State, all of a sudden I felt like I had jetpacks on my shoes.
Just felt like you're flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question for sure. I feel like a big part of it, the training in college is mentality. They harp on us a lot with that. Doesn't matter where you play, doesn't matter where you are, how low, how high up you are. It's got to just be the same for you. Try to make it the same routine. Get in your rhythm. We talk a lot about communicating in between each other, whether that's on the field or off the field, making sure that we're all locked into the mission at hand. So making it a priority to know that no matter where you play or what you do, and that applies to life outside of football too, that you can accomplish whatever you put your mind to.
Your major in college was it business administration?
Correct.
What's been your least favorite subject so far?
Ooh, business statistics, without question. I think that's the hardest class I've ever taken. It takes stuff like Excel and statistics and the business world, and it wraps them all into one big picture mess sort of thing-ish. It's really hard to understand, and it takes a lot of work, but it's just like anything. The more practice and effort you put in, the easier it gets. That would be for sure number one for me.
I like it because I'm a numbers guy myself, but even statistics in general I don't know, man. Sometimes wires get crossed up in your head or something. I'm like, oh yes, that's so easy. And then when I actually think about it, I'm like, wait, I'm an idiot.
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. And then when you throw in something like Excel, like a whole other program that you have to learn on top of that, it's like, dude, this is legit right here.
Yeah, I definitely do not miss that. What's your favorite subject?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't think I have one. I kind of like learn about economics and just stuff like that. That's been kind of cool to learn more about, stock market investing, just stuff like that. I don't think I have one set thing that I know I want to do yet, but my dad's done medical sales, which has, been awesome for our family. And I think if I were to have a family someday, that's something that I for sure would consider. So, maybe going into the business and medical world where those meet and combine to have an opportunity to go out and compete. And I think that could be super fun and awesome.
Knowledge is what you get when you read the playbook, but wisdom is what you get from the experience on the field. What was the hardest lesson that you took from playing on the field?
I love this one. Something that has, made me as far as being a football player was something I had to learn real quick in my junior and senior year of high school, and it's carried over even into now, is having confidence in yourself. That's something that I really struggled with as far as being a football player. I knew that I had good abilities and I had a natural sense for the ball, but I think sometimes that confidence just fell short, and figuring that out as I have grown older, to have the confidence to make sure that I know I'm getting in the playbook, I'm studying hard, I'm being there early and being on time, taking care of the young guys when they come through, helping them with the playbook. It's all things that help build me into me, and if that makes sense. to help build that confidence to know that, I know my job, I can execute my job, and everybody else can count on me.
100%.
Definitely developing a pretty solid character there, young man.
Thank you, sir.
High school career, 97 tackles. You probably don't remember every single tackle. Maybe you do. But if I was going to ask one tackle you wanted everyone to see as they look at that part of your career, what's that one tackle that stands out to you?
Just one. Oh, man. It's pretty crazy. I think that was my senior year, right? Statistics-wise or something. 97
Right.
or something. I don't remember. Yeah, gosh. Just one tackle. My buddy made me a pretty cool highlight video for my senior year right before I committed to Boise State. And there's a couple of those right off the bat, those tackles, that I just absolutely love. I think they look super cool. So I don't know that I could pick one, but my friend Ryan, he did an awesome job making my, highlight tape.
Is it on YouTube?
It's on YouTube, and then it's on my Instagram too.
Nice. We'll link it in the more info for the show so everybody can watch you just crush it.
Just put my Instagram handle down there. I'm nothing too special, I promise.
How does it feel to have your picture on ESPN? If you Google Ty Tanner,
Bro, that's
you see
so
Ty Tanner.
It's still weird to this day. Like my brother comes home, he's still, middle school. He's like, dude, I looked you up and was showing all you my friends or whatever. There's still a part of me deep down inside that's 10 or 11 years old, same kind of thing. And even last year when stuff like NIL came into play and they're like, yeah, we're going to make you a football card. Like you're literally going to be on a trading card to be sold to the public. I'm like freaking out, right? It's like, oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. And it's just crazy to have the opportunity to be a part of that, and still mind-boggling to me to even say that out loud sometimes.
It's really cool, man.
Okay, so when quarantine happened, you stepped up your fitness regimen. You stepped up probably your plyometrics, all of that fast twitch training. What about those fast twitch fingers? Because a lot of us ended up going real hard into MCOC, Marvel Contest of Champions at that time, or any other gaming. You know what I mean? Right. I got friends that play like the Raid Shadow Legends, all that kind of stuff. But I know a lot of people that had nothing better to do than dive into that, PlayStation, whatever. When you weren't training, was that a point for you where the game picked up a lot?
Let's not get that twisted at all. I'm sure everybody was, right? Like, love me some Marvel. See, because these guys are laughing at me both, because I know for a fact that they were too. We're jumping on the PlayStation, me and my brothers. We're doing stuff. We're playing. You name it. We're playing. We're playing Fortnite. We're playing Star Wars Battlefront, like just all the fun games or whatever. But I feel like Marvel Contest of Champions has always been a spot for me, regardless of football or school or life, whatever's going on. I could just open my phone, I could get on there for 10 minutes, do a couple fights or whatever. But also, I could sit down and do like a 3-hour sitting if I want to explore, Act 6 or something, whatever it may be. That's just why I think one of the things why I'm so drawn to the game is it's very open and there's so much to do, and it doesn't have to be a set time that you have to play.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That's so nice. Especially like having kids. Sometimes I only have 2, 3, kid, not plural, but LJ could relate to kids.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes you really only have a couple minutes in between whatever you're doing. And MCOC is always there for you. Just jump in and enjoy.
I absolutely agree.
It's not only there for you. Sometimes it knocks on your door and lets you know that you need to show up.
Stuff like a lion?
Yeah, I feel like the content sometimes feels like a super codependent girlfriend or something. Like, you have not paid me any attention this week, and so we're not on good terms right now. Like, I lost all my calendar
Whenever you
check-in
open,
stuff.
you're going to get absolutely shafted. I'm not going to give you anything worthwhile. Or if you feel like you've been grinding, you're not going to get anything good either.
Yeah,
I totally agree with that.
Here's the Cavalier. You think you're going to get that 6-star action? You're going to get that 3-star action for sure.
Every time.
It's going to be a Groot.
It's going to be a Groot. Yep, there you go.
How long have you been playing MCOC?
I think I got the game the year after it came out, because I have the title, like on the contest birthday or whatever, when they released the new titles. I'm so bummed I missed it. I'm just one short of whatever the new one is that comes out. So I get the one previous year, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
I can't remember what the most recent one was, but yeah, I got it just a couple months after the game came out, so I just barely missed it being brand new.
Yeah, because the game came out. It's a really weird thing because I'm in the same boat. I've been playing right since the beginning, but if you look at that yearly thrown out progression or not progression title, but just title.
Yeah.
What it came out in December of 2014.
That sounds right.
And I think that I started playing in January. It's like somewhere around March or April.
Yeah. I was probably about the same.
Yeah, so that's the funny thing though, is like when they throw that title out and you're like, damn, I just missed it. It's you missed it, but it was easy to do because if you didn't get the game in that first 30 days or first 2 weeks, you're not going to be a part of that 2014 crowd. You feel me? So
which it just looks so bad. Like we were just that close, barely missed it.
yeah, because you were still in the first year of its existence, but you technically weren't in the first year that it came out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer. I didn't get it until 2017.
Okay. You guys are always asking me questions. I don't even know if this is allowed, but I want to ask you guys a question. Like, what drew you both to this? See, look, they're both like giggling at me.
Absolutely.
What drew both of you to the game? Because this is a no-brainer for me, this question.
You are derailing our entire format, and I won't stand for it. This is Bush League bullshit. KB, you can go ahead and answer that first, bro.
So I first got started. It was actually a buddy of mine who we used to play. Like you were talking about Star Wars, playing with your brothers. I used to play with a buddy of mine, and he texted me one day, and we thought that. So he's like, "Hey man, you got to check out this Marvel game." And I was like, "All right." He's one of the guys I'd always go see like the new MCU movies with and stuff. So I was like, "All right." And the way he described it was like a Mortal Kombat, like a fighting game. Like I would get to fight him, and I was like, "I'm all about it. I'll destroy you. I will download this game right now." So I downloaded it, really just to play with my friend because I wanted to learn how to play and beat him. And he stopped playing like a month after, and I'm still here.
Right.
But I mean, he definitely got me into it, just the competitive side of me, because it's a bad habit. But any fighting games, I don't know why. Like ever since I was a kid, I played Mortal Kombat all the time. Princess Katana, my all-time favorite champion. I could keep you up in the air the whole time with those fans. People were like, "Oh, you're cheating." It was Katana or Scorpion. I had like mastered them. I knew the fatalities. I knew everything. And that side of me came out with MCOC. And I joined the alliance that I'm in now in 2017. I'm still in the same alliance. This dude, Photime, he hit me up. He was like, I guess he didn't hit me up. I think I requested to join like as soon as the alliance started. And we're all still there. So it was started because I was a competitive, really wanted to beat my buddy really bad. Also a huge Marvel nerd, so it fit perfect. And then I stayed for like the camaraderie in the community that we built with our alliance is called Fam Jam.
Okay.
So it wasn't any specific champion or anything that pulled me in. It was just a friend of mine who was about to get his butt kicked, and here we are.
I've sort of told how I got into it a couple times, so I'll just give you the quick recap version. But I was getting sober, and I had some time on my hands where I used to go out and party, and it wasn't really a thing anymore. And I was busy, but I had time on my hands. Got a new phone, decided I was going to check out and see what this new Apple phone could do. And so I looked for some high-res game, and then that popped up. I've been a Marvel fan, comic fan my entire life. So that was an easy sell, and there was a few games at the time, but a lot of them look kind of corny, you know. And if you're a comic fan, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever looked for any comic-related game, a lot of them end up being super cheesy and corny looking, and they just look like they didn't really put much love into them. This game was a little different. It was in its infancy, but it looked promising, and it had that Street Fighter sort of Mortal Kombat type vibe that I grew up with. And you got to remember at the time in 2014, if you were an 80s baby, a kid grew up in the 90s, we spent our whole childhoods waiting for them to make good content, right? There's a lot of people probably don't remember this, but the first X-Men thing that they did was some crap movie. It was like a straight to DVD type movie that they put out on Fox, and it was some Friday night special sort of thing, but it was terrible. It was straight trash. So then they start making all these movies. Well, then Iron Man comes along. Then the Avengers finally link up together, and then people start going crazy. And then we start moving out of this place where comics were just for the niche nerdy people, and then we start moving into this mainstream area. So in 2014, when Marvel Contest of Champions drops, that was the same year that we got Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the same year that we got Winter Soldier, which is still, in my opinion, one of the greatest MCU movies ever made. You watch Winter Soldier have that knife fight with Cap. That's one of the most gangster scenes ever in MCOC. He's a cool, good guy. Like, I'm glad that we got what we got, and that actor Sebastian Stan stuck around, because I really like him. But that villain was so dope. That villain was just ruthless. And then right on what piggybacked on that success, right into 2014, that was when we got AntMan. And then right around the time that I started playing, Age of Ultron was about to come out.
Yeah.
Which was a high anticipated and I think overly shit on movie. I still love Age of Ultron. I love James Spader that did Ultron's voice. I've always been a big fan of his. So there was all this buzz, and as a comic kid that grew up loving comics, I was just so excited to have something that I could play that was kind of tailored to our crowd because of this mainstream piggyback success that was in the MCU finally. So I would say when I first got the game, I was probably excited to see Wolverine. I was excited to see Iron Man. I for some reason I feel like I knew right off the bat that Cap was going to be underwhelming.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then to see some of my favorite X-Men characters in there that, were from that show that I watched in the early 90s, that's what got me there. And then the game was it wasn't what it is now. For anybody that's playing right now, the game was not what it is. Well, you remember, right? Because you've been playing it just about as long as I have. The game was quite honestly was pretty easy to set down.
We're playing two completely different games right now.
Absolutely, 100%. And it at that time it was pretty. Even as a diehard comic fan, it was pretty repetitive and redundant to the point where it was really easy to set down. And when I set it down for like almost the better part of 2 years, and then COVID hit. It's like I didn't even really pay it any mind because nothing was really changing enough, and it just seemed like it just seemed like if you want something you got to pay. You want something you got to pay. And yep, money. And I didn't take the game that seriously specifically because of that, was because it's like, dude, this game is not that dope to be dropping money on it just to get anywhere. And I didn't know that there was a bunch of people doing YouTube videos and stuff like that. I didn't know that there was a bunch of people explaining how to get through content. So when I set it down for a while. And then, yeah, COVID hit. So that's short story long. But
yeah, it's awesome.
What characters were you excited to see in the game when you first got it? Let me flip that on you.
It's totally fair. I think I was just excited in general. I'm a lot like you in the sense that I love Marvel just in general. Just the thought of superheroes, they just resonate with me super deep. People who are fighting the good fight, always making sure that they're going to take care of the the weak or the feeble and just watch over the world. When the game came out, it wasn't like something that I was super crazy excited for. I knew that there were going to be some good characters. Like, you knew you had Spider-Man. I mean, like, literally everybody on my t-shirt that we talked about, just all the old characters. This is like one of the old t-shirts or whatever. You had Spider-Man, you had Captain America, you had Iron Man. Of course, these are not the versions of the characters we have in the game nowadays that are, way, way, way better. But I don't think my MCOC really started picking up until Spider-Man Homecoming came out and Stark Enhanced Spider-Man got released, and he was right there with Blade and Ghost Rider, and you had that Trinity that was just like, dude, this is like game-breaking. You can do anything in the game with these three characters. And I went hard in the paint trying to get Stark Enhanced Spider-Man. I remember he's for sure probably my number one. Like, Captain America is my favorite superhero, but that champion, I don't know what it was. There was just something about him. He was just so cool from everybody else that was like, dude, I have to get this guy.
Remember when he dropped? He almost seemed like he was faster. I don't know how to explain it, but it almost seemed like
he was.
Yeah, he was like so much faster than everybody else, and you had to build those poise charges just dexing 10 times, and then you hit like a truck.
We're so many years into the game now, and he still is just, he has a very special place in my heart. That character is just diamond in the rough for me. He's just so cool. He's just so different from everybody else. Gosh, it's just so cool to think about how far the game has come. Like, even, I don't know if you guys remember something like Gwenpool Goes to the Movies. When that event came out right before, I think it was Infinity War, they released that. And then they kind of started giving out more rewards and rewarding progression more and more. Made the game easier for some of the free-to-play players. Not quite still what it is today, but it made the game more inviting for more people. And just like LJ had hit on, like, they're trying to build off of this hype train. They've got so much going for the MCU, and Marvel's just looking like, the land of milk and honey, and they're trying to capitalize it on any way that they can possible. And the game has totally been something for me that has made me love Marvel even more.
Yeah, I would agree. It's cool because the game will sometimes drop like champions that are more obscure. Spot,
Yeah.
These guys, they are just kind of, would have never known about them if you weren't a huge comic nerd.
Right.
And then you get the opportunity to play them. You get to read the little dialogue that they write up for these people. So you kind of get to know the champion.
Right.
And you just get to learn about, I guess, more Marvel than you would if you
Didn't
weren't a diehard fan your entire life.
If I was going to circle back to actually give you an answer, I just looked it up on Aunt May because I was like, what did really... You reminded me when you brought up them bringing in a champ that you were super hyped on. And I think if I was actually going to say what got me dummy hyped when I did come back and I stuck around, I'll just put it this way. I don't remember them dropping Omega Red, which was 2019. I don't remember.
That was Emma Frost Omega Red, right? That update?
Yeah.
I remember that one.
And I also was not playing at right at the time. I don't think I was playing right at the time when they dropped Doom finally.
Yeah.
In 2020. So I think I came back I believe I came back right after they dropped Doom. And when I came back and I saw Omega Red and I saw Doom in the pool, and I was like, oh my God, they're finally putting in my people. I've always been more of a villain guy. I like the villains better.
Yeah.
And so but I finally saw Doom and I saw Omega Red and I was like, all right, now they have my people in there. Because I think that's really what made it stick for me was when I had champs that I wanted so badly that it really started that hungry chase.
Yeah.
And I honestly, if they hadn't put some of these characters in, I don't think I'd be playing today because that's what started the gotcha chase.
Yep.
What keeps me coming back still, man. I set my sights on a champion. Like for the longest time, we have like multiple alliances under the Fam Jam umbrella. LJ's in one of them, and he got to experience me being the biggest pain in the ass over Hercules. Hercules dropped, and I was obsessed. Like I had to have him. Every single crystal I could open, every single chance I got, I had to have him. I finally got him. Then I don't even enjoy him because like 24 hours after I pull Hercules, I've already awakened him, Sig 200 while I haven't put any resources, but immediately awaken, Sig 200. I was like, he's going to rank 4. And then I don't even enjoy him. 24 hours later, I'm like, all right, now I have to have Kitty Pride.
Yeah,
It's just like,
it's a never-ending cycle, dude.
yeah. Doom is the one that I'm hunting. I've opened 41 and counting of these stupid featured crystals. I've had a plethora of Sasquatches and Daredevils and everybody you don't want.
This is iDoom we're talking, right? Not Doctor Doom.
I do. Yeah, that infamous Iron Man, baby. Gotta have him.
He's pretty sick, dude.
Yeah, he's dope. His animations are bananas. Sometimes, yeah, everything he does. When that fool blocks, he looks tight.
No,
if you hit, when you hit into his block, a lot of people don't pay attention to the attention to detail that some of these devs put in. But when you hit into his block, and he's got that force field, you see a ripple of almost like sacred geometry flow through his shield.
Cool.
So dope. I don't think these devs get enough credit sometimes.
No, they do such a good job on, and not every champion that they put in is everybody's favorite, right? Like, but they work so hard to make sure that all of the ones that they do put in end up being friggin' sick.
Yeah, I don't always love every champ that they drop, but I will say that their animation team, for the most part, crushes it all throughout the year. In the last couple of years, especially.
Like some of the nuanced things that they've been doing, like, well, Hercules is a good example. You start a fight, and like Hercules has that dialogue on his side, and he's like I used Hercules to fight Punisher 2099 this morning, and when he started, he's like, "You're gonna bring guns to a fist fight?" I was like,
they do a good job. It's awesome.
We talked about champs that we've chased. Who was your most recent chase that drove you crazy?
I don't think that there's one that could even compare to that Stark Spidey chase right off the bat. Like, that was when the game picked up, and it was just like, it's time to go. Like, I need this character. When Captain America Infinity War came out, I really, really wanted him. So there's another notable one, I feel like. Gosh, out of the new characters, I don't think... It's been a long time since I've been like, I'm saving everything. Like, I am going for this character. It's been a long time since I've actually done that. So I don't know if I could pick one. Scorpion's pretty sick, though. Maybe Scorpion.
Do you have like all of the heavy hitters on your roster? Do you have the Doom and the Hercules and pretty much all the mainstays?
Yes, for sure. Doom is legit. He can do some crazy, stupid things. Captain America Infinity War, when he's awakened and he's got that high sig. I'm a Captain America Infinity War. What he did for my account, he put the entire team on his back and said, all right, I'm running through everything. So he's my number one guy. But, man, some of those heavy hitters that they've been putting in, like even somebody like Immortal Hulk, like just that ability to cheese and just keep throwing those mediums, it's so awesome. I love that.
I'm glad you big upped Captain America Infinity War, because I probably had a couple people in the Alliance looking at me like I was crazy when I took my 6-star to rank 3 unawakened. Yeah, I don't feel bad about this at all. My man still hits like a tank.
Yep, you crit on that special 2 with the Fury and it's like 130. You're like,
You guys can't see it, but Ty's got a Captain America shield behind him over there. I believe off to the side, he's even got a Captain America statue.
Yes, so yes. Me and KB, I was showing him all the good Captain America stuff. So
that I feel you on that Cap Infinity War, man. He was definitely a mainstay too, because Malone is a beast, but he puts your whole team on his back.
Yep.
And dude, he's OP. He went to Sig 200 as fast as I could.
There's been a couple champions like that, especially, I mean, these new ones that are getting added in, referring back to Hercules, but seeing some of these content creators, like when they came out with stuff about Hercules, his immortality was just ridiculous. It's just so stupid. Like you as long as you're hitting them, you cannot die. It's ridiculously broken.
Well, you remember when we first had to fight him. People may already forget this, but the whole community got so pissed because we had to fight a version of Hercules that was super broken. Yep. And his immortality would last through a special 3. when they put him in the crystal and we started pulling him, they were like, "Oh yeah, that wasn't supposed to be a thing." And it's like, well, that was good enough for the content you just made us clear. We had to deal with that in the content.
Totally right.
But now that we all picked him up, ranked him up to rank 3, rank 4, whatever.
Put all of our beautiful resources and time and effort into this character.
Yeah, I just dumped 200 sig into the dude and I pulled him right off the bat. But now you're going to tune him down. And I think that people forget, because whenever they talk to the devs, XN interviews, or, Rich the Man talks to Jax, or, whatever, they always bring up how they wish they would have had the balancing initiative going back then when they dropped Hercules and Kitty Pryde. But people forget that they did tune him back right off the bat, or they nerfed him. And it's such bad PR when you release a champ and then you say, "Oh, he was not working as intended." It's like, bro, that's the last thing we want to hear.
Gosh dang it.
Yeah, he was working as intended the entire month we had to fight him in the end, the side quest, monthly content, whatever.
I remember LJ pulled Hercules and was like sending me gameplay video. And that's when I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get my hands on this guy.
It's on, dude. I'm going.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's on. Yeah. I think LJ, you were one of the first people that I was aware of that had Hercules.
Yeah, I pulled him quick. I chased Shang-Chi real hard right before that. I think that's who it was. I was and then I pulled Hercules. They sell those 300 unit Cavalier crystals. It's not in the early access. It was in just one of the ones that they put on your main crystal screen. I don't even know what they call those. Just featured calves.
Right.
But I had like 300 units, and I was like, I'll just buy one. I bought one and popped a 5-star right off the bat, and I was like,
yeah,
I was like, all right, cool, I'm out.
Yeah, 5-star, man. I was tearing through content because I had the 5. I did have lucky enough to pull the 5-star, and I got like that taste of Hercules and that power, and then I was like, Adam Driver, Kylo Ren. I'm like, I need more. Yeah.
Dude, Shang-Chi's a good champ. He's fun. You build up all those charges and let loose nasty special too. It's pretty sick to see that.
His utility is through the roof too. I wish I was better at making videos and content and stuff, because I'll write books to the Alliance, like trying to explain how to use Shang-Chi, and people are like, I don't get it. I don't think he's that good. And I'm over here like I'm pulling my hair out. I'm like, how do you not think he's that good? He's just such a beast, man. You could slow, you could stun, you can go unblockable, you cleanse. All this you could do through block, unawakened, and then he has the most goated SP2 where every hit is a crit.
It is sick.
Who is your favorite champion this year so far?
Why don't you guys tell me first, and then I'll think of mine, because there's been some bangers, I think.
I did get lucky enough to pull Absorbing Man from the featured. He's been pretty cool. I don't know if he's my favorite because I don't have as much practice with him as I'd like, but he's definitely the most interesting. His toolkit is all over the place. I like follow a bunch of people on Twitter who are really, really good, like Metal Sonic Dude and those guys. I don't remember if it was Slaymon or Simula or one of those S guys. I posted a video the other day just wrecking a Weapon X with Absorbing Man. I'm like, this Absorbing Man, if you know how to play him and how to access his toolkit and get him to do what you want, he's a beast. I almost dropped a generic Awakening into him because I haven't had any good luck, but I want to wait until they announce if he's going to be nerfed or not before I use that generic gem. But I think Absorbing Man has probably been my favorite so far.
I would probably say Absorbing Man. This is what happens when you get your coffee, but it's not entering your bloodstream yet. Because I think what I really meant to ask you, because we're only a couple months into the year, they've only dropped a few champs. Yeah. But who was your favorite champ from last year?
Probably Scorpion, honestly, because he came out last year, right?
Yep.
And answering, I think, this question, I'm pretty sure he came out this year. He's kind of an underrated banger. I love him. I think his animations are so cool, and he might not be the greatest damage-wise, but Spider-Man Supreme, like the Doctor Strange Spider-Man crossover, he's so sick, I feel like.
He was he was last year.
Was he last year?
Yeah, he was. I think
He's
he
just
was.
in the new feature. That's why I'm thinking.
Yeah, he was at the end of 2022. But
That's right.
yeah, I agree. His animations are stupid.
Super underrated defender too.
Any ability to go invisible just throws people so bad.
Mine's on Awaken rank 3, but I would put him in my BG's deck, and I'd only use him on defense. I had learned how to play against him pretty early on, so once you understand him, it's kind of an easy fight, honestly, but not many people do apparently, because I was just tearing through BGs near the end. And Spider Supreme, like, even if people had a good draw against me and they had like the perfect counter, somehow they still lost. I don't know what happened there, but I was just like, man, good for you. Thanks, Spider-Man.
Like even KB bringing that up just literally put something in my brain. And thinking back to what LJ said, like talking about it being a different game. When the game came out, it was easy as literally getting parry and dexterity, and you could take anybody besides maybe the Collector and Thanos. Like those two fights were like, this is legit. Like they're gonna take forever because they're different than anything that we have. And now in the game, we have all these mechanics like phasing and evade, like just so many different things that make it way harder to actually fight against people, and it takes skill, and you got to know how to fight them, which I really enjoy actually.
Falter, there's miss mechanics.
God, I hate Falter.
Hood can go invisible. Yeah, it's also interesting because like sometimes it gets confusing when you have like True Sense. So True Sense, I believe, will counter Falter and Auto Block. Then there's True Accuracy, and then there's True Strike. Each of them counters a different mechanic. Sometimes when I'm trying to plan, I'm like looking at routes and looking at nodes and stuff. I'm like, all right, yeah, I could bring this guy because he'll counter that. And then I get in and I run into that fight, and I was like, oh man, I brought the wrong counter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how else are they going to sell the snake oil?
Right, exactly.
This is what Kabam does, and it's not rocket science marketing. They show up and they're like, hey, yo, you know how you like your house? You do, right? You like your house? You built up a nice house? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like my house. All right, cool. So this is what we're going to do. Here's a character that, guess what? They took out your driveway. There's now just a big empty hole where your driveway was. And it's like, how am I supposed to pull my car out of the driveway then? Or how am I supposed to get out of the garage? Well, you don't have a driveway. You can't do that anymore. Oh, no. But next month, we got this other champion coming out. And guess what? What? They're going to give you your driveway back. So now you can pull your car out of the garage and operate a normal life again. And that's what
analogy.
That's what they do.
That's exactly what they do.
They punch a hole in the game, and then they offer a bridge.
Yep.
Carrot on a stick.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, because going back to what we were talking about with rosters is, I was explaining this to my 11-year-old son who also plays the game, and he's got a great roster for somebody who just got uncollected this, right before Christmas.
That's a big step, man. People forget that was a big thing back in the day.
I'm not going to give him too many props because he just never plays. Like he'll get to the next progression level and then just not play for 8 months. But he's got a really solid roster for a little dude. But I've got 2 accounts with nice rosters. You guys have nice rosters. And I was just explaining this to him the other day. He said, how's your roster looking? Did you pull anybody new? I think last night, actually, we had this conversation. But I said, you know what, dude? I would say that I'm at a place on both my accounts where my rosters are very comfortable. Now, it doesn't mean that there's not going to be some random counters that I have to come up against later on. But where I'm at right now, it's not so much my rosters are comfortable enough to where if I don't pull the newest, shiniest champion, like I'm going to be all right. You know what I mean? For the most part, I'll be able to still do just fine with the people that I have. I got all my main people that I want as 6 stars, the staples that you need. The right spices in the cabinet that you need to make it through a kitchen. Doom, Hercules, a bunch of others. I don't want to keep picking on Hercules and get him nerfed, but I'm just saying, you have these people. You have your I-Bomb. You have your Human Torch. And once you get all the right spices in your spice cabinet, the other stuff feels a little bit more like a fancy little addition or a luxury. You know what I mean? But you have your mainstays. Do you guys find that now that you've grown your rosters to a comfortable place, you trip less on having to get the next person, the next fancy new shiny thing?
I wish I could say yes, but absolutely not.
I don't even know. I don't even know why I included you. You're a junkie.
I'm so vain.
I already know your answer.
I'm so vain, bro. New champ comes out, I must have it. That's especially if they have high prestige. I'm miserable. I'm the same. I am the same way. I try to remind myself. I'm like, I don't need this champion. I have 5 others that can counter the same thing, or I could a synergy that does the same thing. I've got a large enough account, like you said, LJ. I could tackle whatever's in front of me if I just kind of use a little ingenuity or just use Hercules. No, I'm so vain. It's terrible. It's terrible. New shiny champ drops. I gotta have it. If every crystal I open even if I'm getting good champions, like Sasquatch isn't bad. Sigged up, he's a beast. I pull Sasquatch out of that featured and I snap my phone in half. It drives me nuts.
I think for me, very torn on this question because you want them, like you need them on your account, right? It's like, oh my gosh, yes, it's so sick. They're brand new. They do all these cool things. But then you remember in 5 months, they end up in the basic. And then you're just going to pull one day without thinking about it. It's like, oh, okay, well, he's on my roster now, or he or she is on my roster. So, yes and no. I'm glad that we have the content creators that go out and do it, like people like Seaton, or like Legacy, or Metal Sonic Dude, that always get them. So you can watch them and be excited for when you're going to get them when they come out of the basic. But having that hunt to look forward to be like, oh, I really want, I hope I get this out of the crystal. That makes the game fun. You have that something to look forward to every time a new character comes out every month, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the main one I'm hunting right now, and KB's probably the same, is Infamous Iron Man. But I can't honestly say that it feels the same as when I was hunting Hercules or when I was hunting Doom. Doom was bad. For me personally, Doom was bad. I couldn't pull Doom to save my life.
He's so sick.
He's so dope. He's still, to this day, he's my favorite character in the game. But, yeah, I think that they're always going to give us a carrot on a stick. But I just don't feel like I need anyone that they've dropped recently.
Yeah.
The sad part is I'll pull the one that I'm hunting and I'll never touch them. And I won't know how to use them. Like with Absorbing Man. Was my second on the list. Well, actually, yeah, going into it, he was second on my list. I had to have iDoom and I had to have AntMan. Spot was the sneaky Spot. I think on maybe our first episode or second episode, LJ and I just ripped Spot up. We said he was a trash character. I mouthed him up and down. And then I pulled him, and then I started seeing Karate Mike and all those guys with the Spot SP2 fully boosted, does 300k. I was like, okay. I made an apology post on Instagram, and Kabam actually commented on it this morning. I was like, Kabam, I'm so sorry that I dragged Spot. He's actually a really good champion, my favorite that I've pulled so far. And then somebody with the initials SS commented on there this morning, and they were like, no need to apologize. Glad you enjoy him.
I want to amend something really quick. This is Ty's episode, but I want to amend this because we'll have it recorded in the record books after that. Because this has come up a lot lately with this whole Spot thing. And KB keeps apologizing for us. You apologize for you. Don't apologize for me. I never said that he was a trash champion, that his mechanics sucked or he didn't have utility. What I said was they pulled some dumbass obscure character from the comic books that I couldn't give two shits about. And I still stand by that. I know he's a good character at this point. I know he's a good champion as far as that goes. I still maintain that it's super frustrating when you have characters in the comics that people have been dying to see. You know, we get Spot, but we don't get Beta Ray Bill. We get Spot, but we don't get Vulcan. We don't get, you know, I mean, dude, there's so many gangster ass characters that are just straight monsters in the comics, and we got to vote on them. But then we get some character like Betsy or Spot, or, you know, let me scroll down the list here. Who's another obscure one that nobody gave a shit about?
I know he came out a while ago, but when Guardian came out, he was one of those ones for me. I was like,
Psycho Man.
Psycho Man. Yeah, there you go.
Yo, I've got an issue downstairs that I just found at a thrift store. It's Fantastic Four or something or another, and it was dropped in 1992. And there's a center section where they show some of Fantastic Four's big bads, you know, and Psycho Man is one of them that's in this list. And of course, you got Doom, and you've got the Skrull, and you got, you know, whatever. Do you think even the Fantastic Four fans gave a shit about Psycho Man when they dropped him in this game? Like, honestly, do you think anyone was like, sick?
Cool, thanks.
It's about time. No one was sitting at home going, hell yeah, Kabam, it's about time. Nobody, dude, nobody. No, not one Fantastic Four fan was just like, hell yeah. Somebody hit the nail on the head. That was not anything. Yo, give me something that was never said for 500, Alec. Never.
Hope Psycho Man gets the next Red Max level buff, so we can all eat our words here.
It's like the same thing that happened with Colossus. Like,
Yes.
there's that YouTube video. I don't even remember who the dude's name is, where he's opening the crystal and he gets a Colossus. He's like hunting Blade and he gets a Colossus. And he literally stands up out of his things. I don't even know. LJ, you might remember this, or Cape, either one of you. He stands up and he looks right in his camera. He's like, F you, Kabam, or whatever. And he just like walks away. He's just pissed off. And now he's like so good, which is so weird. Like,
yeah, there's still some characters that they need to just completely rework. I'll never be happy with Thor Ragnarok and the way that he looks and the way that he just from a visual place, man, and I'm not even going to go deep dive on his actual mechanics. I'm just saying he looks like an angry hunchback on his way to a Minnesota Vikings game, and he's wearing the wrong colors. He just, yeah, like drunk frat boy with a hunchback. You know what I mean?
the idea was there. It was just the execution. It was just.
There's a lot that you can fix. Obviously, you know, we've got Juggernaut, we've got Hulks. Those buffs, they came out nice. And we're finally getting to see Juggernaut play like Juggernaut. We're getting to see Hulk play like Hulk. But there's some people that to be fair, when they drop stuff for these MCU appearances, they don't have all the details. They get these little snippet images, and they got to work with that. So they probably got some picture where he had his battle stuff. He was getting ready to fight Hulk, and he was all hunched over like, let's go. But just the way that... it's just goofy as shit. All right, back to Ty.
No, I'm having a great time just hanging out with you guys. I'm gonna be honest. This is awesome.
So you're an MCU fan, obviously. What were your top 3 favorite MCU movies?
Number 1 out of the MCU, gotta be Infinity War. Probably a tie between Endgame or The Winter Soldier. Probably for the last one, let's go. Probably Civil War. Might go Civil War. Or No Way Home. No Way Home too.
In Civil War, when Spidey came out, man, that was one of the most exciting.
See, and that was right before, like, Homecoming came out after that too, and then they released Stark Spidey, and that was
then Black Panther.
We already talked about that, and Black Panther, yeah, and Killmonger came out too. He was a sick character too, still is.
Yeah, and I think that when people think back on Civil War, a lot of times they think, well, first appearance of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But they also forget that it's first appearance of Chadwick as Black Panther. Yeah. And those two releases into the MCU were just epic.
They added a whole other aspect to the movies and gave people more characters to resonate with.
Well, how much cooler does it get as a first appearance than Black Panther, Cap, and Winter Soldier rolling through that tunnel in the cars and the motorcycle? So dope.
So sick.
That movie was so gangster.
Yeah, just tearing each other up. Awesome.
So I've been seeing this meme a lot, and I just want to segue real quick because I want to hear what you think. I want to hear from KB too. But I keep seeing this meme. They show Thor, they show Cap, they show Spider-Man, they show Iron Man, and they say top 3 in order. Who's got the best trilogy? I would pretty quickly list that one. Cap, I think that he has one of the most underrated origins because I personally loved his first movie. I think it's got crazy replay value. Obviously, Winter Soldier is one of the best MCU movies of all time. And then Civil War was really an Avengers movie, but he still gets credit for it. Spider-Man comes next for obvious reasons. No Way Home was insane. Iron Man, and then Thor's got the sorriest trilogy, I think, out of all of them for very obvious reasons. But how do you guys rank them?
Mine is the exact same. Got to go with that. I don't think I really started, being a major Thor guy. But like when Thor comes out in Infinity War and he's got Stormbreaker and he's just tearing people up in Wakanda. Like that scene is so sick. I remember that was just so legit. Being there on opening night and everybody just going nuts when he comes back. But Captain America's my guy. Those 3 movies, all 3 of them are so good. I love the Spider-Man movies. I think my favorite Spider-Man, honestly, you two might rip into this for me. My favorite Spider-Man is Andrew Garfield because that movie came out when I was like 11, 10-ish. And what that meant to 10-year-old me was like, see, I've even got like a poster back there in my room. I don't know if you can see it. It's one of my favorites of all time. But he's my favorite Spider-Man. And then the Iron Man trilogy is really good too, but Thor's just doesn't do it for me. The first Thor, not great in my opinion. Second one, not great. Ragnarok's like solid. I like Ragnarok. And then Love and Thunder is okay. I think at best for me, honestly. But yeah, that's my ranking.
Definitely, unfortunately, Thor is in last place. Ragnarok was the only one that I really enjoyed. Ragnarok is maybe in my top 4 MCU movies. I don't know. I guess if I was ranking the trilogies in order, it would be Spider-Man first because he's one of my favorite characters just in general. As a kid, I always had a ton of Spider-Man comics. Easily more Spider-Man than anything else. I always played like the Nintendo 64, that Spider-Man game, where I think it's like some really weird, like you're trying to swing away from Venom or Carnage, one of them's chasing you, and it's this super awkward turn the corners, and it was, as a kid, it would drive me nuts because I could never beat it. That's where I fell in love with like Venom and Carnage. The comics, I fell in love with Spider-Man and Venom. I didn't have much experience with Carnage until the video games, but either way, Spider-Man's number 1 trilogy. Probably Iron Man second, just for the fact that that's what kicked off the real MCU. So it's kind of like the groundwork. I wasn't the biggest fan, sorry for you Captain America heads, I wasn't the biggest fan of the first Cap movie. Second 2 were masterpiece, chef's kiss. So yeah, probably Spider-Man, Iron Man, Cap, and then like you guys, Thor. The first 2 movies are just not good.
Yo, I know that there's going to be some MCU heads that are listening to that are like screaming into their car stereo. Thor wasn't a trilogy. Yeah, I'm just going to dead that right now. It doesn't matter. His points combined still wouldn't put him in the top 3. Like
I even mentioned that. I even gave it more.
Yeah, if we were just counting just the first 3 Thor movies, he's still not. I don't think he's placing. Okay, so if you had to pick, let's say 1, 2, 3, who's got the first movie? Who's got the second movie? Who's got the best third?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So you got to wipe the other ones away,
Yeah.
You get.
Second one's no brainer. That's Winter Soldier for me. As far as seconds, I can name that one. But first, probably go Iron Man, just because that's gonna end up being 100 top movies of all time. Like it is going to be in that list, just because of what it has done for, Marvel and the world. Like just everything. It's crazy. So probably Iron Man 1, The Winter Soldier, and then 3's got to be No Way Home.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with that list. And number 3 was the only one where Thor shined more.
That was my number 3 was going to be. I would have had the exact same list, but then I'd have Ragnarok as third.
That's a tough three-way battle though, right there. 'Cause you got
It
Civil
is.
War, No Way Home, Thor Ragnarok. Like those are all banger movies. Like, those are so good.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm flipping through channels, and that's why I know I would put Ragnarok as third. Literally, anytime I see it on TV, I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything else now, boop, and I'm gonna finish watching Ragnarok wherever it's at. It has the most replay value to me. I think it's. I don't know. Could just watch that movie. I couldn't watch it every day. That'd be exaggerating, but pretty close.
Yeah, Ragnarok is definitely in my top 10 for MCU, maybe top 5. How are you enjoying the Disney Plus shows so far? Honestly.
I am a Captain America guy, right? So even just seeing the Shield in the MCU means a lot to me. Like I love it, and I think Sam Wilson taking up the mantle as Captain America is pretty sick. His suit's cool. He got it from Wakanda or whatever. But I remember being excited for WandaVision, and that came out and I watched it. And I was like, just wasn't everything I hoped it would be. Loki's been okay, I think, so far. Everybody, loves Tom Hiddleston and loves that character, but he's one that's never just resonated with me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's died 10 times and came back every time, so he can just never stay dead. And his impression as a villain in the first Avengers film just never left me, I guess. So that plays a part into that too. Some of the other ones have been okay. Honestly, I really liked What If. I think that was fun. That was a fun change for me. I enjoyed that one, and I think Ultron's my favorite villain. I don't think I've said that. And that episode where he gets the Infinity Stones, that's like one of the sickest things I think I've ever seen. And he's just tearing up everybody. Like, nobody stood a chance. That was nuts.
Yeah, when he discovers the Watcher and like the Watcher's narrating, and then Ultron's like, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Oh
sick.
man, I got goosebumps just thinking about that again."
It's so sick. So, if I had to give it a rating, I'd say it's been very mid. I think as a whole. Oh, I guess I forgot about Moon Knight too. Moon Knight was cool, but yeah. What about you guys? What do you think?
Same. I haven't been overly impressed with most of the MCU. I mean, if I'm grading it as a group, I loved Loki. Falcon and Winter Soldier was good to me. Not quite what I was hoping, but it was something that I would go back and rewatch. WandaVision was really hard for me to get into, and I think that just because of my
really slow.
What's that?
It's really, really slow. That start, it's just so different and out there that.
Well, and we went from Endgame to WandaVision, and that's tough. That's it. You go from something on that massive of a scale and the problem is that we get expectations set by the last thing that happened, and unfortunately for WandaVision, I was just like, dude, the first couple episodes, I was just like, please just make something about Marvel. Like, I don't understand what this has. And then, of course, in the end, then it all kind of ties together. But yeah, the first few episodes were gnarly. Just for me and my ADHD, I was like, let's go. So blow something up, do magic stuff. So, I'm like the little kid just waiting for shit to pop off and waiting for SpongeBob to do something funny. And he's just like not funny and not doing anything for 3 episodes. But, yeah, I'm not going to go off on a She-Hulk tangent. The show was absolute dog shit. And Moon Knight was tight. I liked his special presentation. Werewolf by Night was super sick. And
it was sick. I forgot about that one.
Oh god, it was such a breath of fresh air. And I'm looking forward to what's coming down the line. I think that they're going to start to dial back this quantity over quality that we've probably talked to death. But yeah, I'm hopeful.
We got Bernthal coming back.
Yeah, and Foggy's gone. I don't know what's more exciting for those of you guys that are sitting at home that don't live on Twitter and maybe missed it, so this is some of the new news, and I don't know how you feel about this, Ty. The character who played Foggy, I don't really care about Deborah Ann Wool or whatever her name is that played whoever she played on Daredevil. Yo, I don't even remember her character.
That should tell you enough about that character. If you can't remember who played what, that's self-explanatory enough. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, I honestly, I watched the entire show twice and I still can't remember her character's name. I don't care either way. I'm very indifferent with her. But Foggy, I hated his guts, and I always talk about Samuel L. Jackson was a Daredevil fan, and he watched the show. So you got the guy who plays Nick Fury tweeting, they should red wedding Foggy already. And so he's like wishing harm on this character as Nick Fury, and it was just like the funniest thing because it was the most relatable shit I've ever heard on Twitter because I hated that dude. That guy couldn't act his way out of a sock. But he's not coming back. And John Bernthal, which was one of the best things to happen to Netflix, in my opinion, he's confirmed. So we got Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox, and John Bernthal so far confirmed, and then Foggy is not there. And I don't know which news is more exciting to me. I honestly think that if I had to pick one of the two for this Daredevil Born Again, I could have lived with not having John Bernthal as long as Foggy's gone. Straight up. That's how much I hate that fool.
I totally agree with you there. I think it's a lot for sure. Because the show's meant a lot to different people. Some people don't know anything about it. Some people love it. Some people are undecided. But even like seeing him in No Way Home, I mean, you had half the audience like, oh my gosh, this is so sick. He's in the movie. Whatever. Like, he's in the MCU now. And half the audience is like, oh, that's cool. Like, who is that? We don't know who that is. Because nobody had ever seen the show or whatever. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I think it's a lot like you said, a breath of the fresh air. Hopefully that they turn it around and, you know, start putting out some stuff that people are really excited about again.
Yeah, the news is coming out that they've pushed back the slate, so Secret Wars is probably not gonna wrap, or I think that's what I read, but they're pushing it back to 2028 now. And a lot of us just kind of went, ugh. But at the same time, you don't want anything to be rushed. I mean, I don't know, did you see Ant-Man Quantumania?
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of people probably also don't understand because a lot of people were complaining about this. I got this dude on TikTok that just keeps trying to roast me in the comments because I reported on what happened with Quantumania and MODOK, and I think people really misunderstood that post. I wasn't saying that Quantumania was a bad movie. I liked Quantumania. KB liked Quantumania. But it just is what it is, people. They just to clear this shit up, what happened and why it felt rushed with the CGI, you know, there was no depth in the background, for example. It was just red and blue colors just the whole time. MODOK looked terrible. And what happened was the editing process for Wakanda Forever was wrapping at the same time as Ant-Man Quantumania. Disney works with the same production houses for SFX. So what happened was Wakanda Forever took precedence over Ant-Man Quantumania, right? So they were already, as everyone knows with MCU at this point, the Marvel Studios, they push their people too hard and want them to do the work too quickly. So you got people that are working 80-hour weeks, literally living out of the offices that they work at. You know what I mean? Sleeping on the floor, trying to get this stuff pushed out so that we can sit back and shit on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. When you're running it like that, and those are the parameters you set. Like, we need this impossible task, and we need it in this amount of time. And then to make things even better, what we're going to do is we're going to take half or more of your employees and we're going to send them over to help finish up this other movie that we think is more important. So when I ask people, do you think that Ant-Man Quantumania is the actual beginning of Phase 5 or the true end of Phase 4? What I meant was they were sharing production teams for what should have been the end of Phase 4, and that's what screwed up the beginning of Phase 5. So to me, the way that I look at it is Ant-Man is not really the beginning of Phase 5. Phase 5 is when Marvel gets their shit together and pulls their head out of their asses and starts getting back to the quality that we expected. Ant-Man to me is a rough bow put on a crappy present that basically was Phase 4, or the majority of Phase 4. It's where they were still making a lot of the same mistakes and stuff like that.
I think Ant-Man was like an interlude. It's like that little brief period between Phase 4 ending and Phase 5 starting. Because, yeah, technically it was an Ant-Man movie, but we all know it was a Jonathan Majors. That was the Kang movie, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
We all know. Ant-Man was just a little cherry on top. That was a Kang movie. So it was just like the interlude, kind of like when it was like the post-credit scene when Thanos is sitting on his little chair, and then we finally get the first glimpse of Thanos. This was just a very long post-credits scene of another movie, you know?
Yeah, it was a setup. How much did you care about Cassie Lang?
Are we talking Contest of Champions, or are we talking the movie?
I mean, we can talk about the game that we made a podcast for, but I'm talking about in that movie. How much did you actually give a shit about Cassie in the movie?
Honestly, I could care less. Like, I guess she's there to help, which is cool, and she has a new suit, which was like just thrown in. But I was watching, like, when she came out, when the movie came out, whatever. Legacy said something that was very interesting to me in one of his videos that he did on her. You know, I love this character in this game, and that's made me love her even more in the movies. It's like, okay, well, this character means absolutely nothing. Like, she has literally just been there to be a great comic relief character. Like, add a little real life into what's going on. And now she has a suit and powers and everything, and has to feel obligated to help out, which is very interesting to me.
Yeah, her and MODOK were like the little comedic relief. The MODOK stuff was funny. Spoiler alert, where he's like, I'm an Avenger. And I was like...
Yeah. Well, I don't. If you guys are spoiled somehow by that, I don't think you spend any time on Twitter. There was 2 hashtags that they put out with the special memojis. You know, it was MODOK, and then there was MODOK the Avenger, and so Twitter kind of spoiled that on day one. But yeah, I don't. So the thing with Cassie is she's supposed to be part of this new Avengers team that they're building up for future. And I don't really think that they're off to a good start with this new Avengers thing. To be so honest, personally, I could give 2 shits about Kate Bishop. I didn't really enjoy her in the Hawkeye show. I'm kind of with Rich the Man on that one. I love Jeremy Renner, but I really couldn't seem to care about Kate Bishop at all. I don't care about Cassie. I would like to see more of Isaiah. What was it? Isaiah Bradley's grandson, the Patriot. I would like to see more of him. Personally, I would really hope that they would recast the kids who played Wanda's kids for Speed and Wiccan. Sweet kids. I saw them at the press releases, and I saw them on the red carpet. Super sweet kids. Yeah, but they either need some acting classes or they need to recast those kids by the time that they go to do these new Avenger things, because neither of those kids could act worth a shit. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, literally thinking back to this last movie with Kang, I'm sitting there thinking the entire time. I'm like, okay, we've got Spider-Man, Captain America, and all of these other slapsticks, literally, let's so say, that are going to fight this dude who's literally a bona fide god almost. Like, he has the power to literally travel between dimensions and all of this, and like, how are we going to even have a movie to fight against? Like, we're clearly going to have to say something. I said something funny to my buddy yesterday. I was like, all right, well, the way that we beat Thanos, Captain Marvel just put the team on her back and absolutely wrecked everything. So let's just take one of those little Ant-Man PIM discs, throw it on her, and then she's giant and can zap everybody everywhere. And he just kind of started laughing, which was stupid of me to say, but it's true. I mean, we don't got nothing to fight against that right now.
I saw a lot of chatter on Twitter, where people are, and This is the last spoiler alert I'll do for Ant-Man. It's like, there's a statute of limitations. If you guys haven't seen it yet, at some point it's kind of on you.
Or you just don't even care to see it at this point.
Yeah, or you don't give a shit. Just mute it for a couple minutes. But I think everybody knows at this point, Ant-Man obviously beats Kang. That's how we finish the movie. But there's people all over Twitter that are constantly saying, "Oh, whoa, this is supposed to be our next big bad. Oh, he's supposed to be our next Thanos. He gets killed in the first movie he's in." Okay. I think we should clear this up for a second for people that don't read comics. It's literally the entire point of Kang. What makes him such a cool bad guy is because he can be killed over and over and over. There will never stop being a Kang. There's no area of the comics where Kang stops being a thing entirely. That's not a thing. And that's what's so cool about him. But Marvel also doesn't... Feige doesn't do stuff on accident. Despite this experimental stage in Phase 4 and whatever the hell he let Jessica Gao do on She-Hulk was just a train wreck of nonsense. But for the most part, in the MCU, Feige has a lot of intent that goes into stuff. So if he's supposed to be the big bad in Phase 5 and forward, do you really think that one of the scariest versions of him that they built up, that they really killed him in the first movie he was in? I don't think so. I think that we're going to get an even crazier version of Kang down the road. I think that we're going to get some variants. And then I think that this version that got zapped into whatever is going to soak up all that energy of this new realm that he's in. And when he comes back, he's just going to be a monster. And he's going to be pissed because he got basically sent to purgatory twice.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. Even in the post credits, we got to see the Council of Kangs, and that was one of my favorite parts about the Loki series, when it's just he who remains. He's like eating the apple, and he's like, "You could kill me, sure. Like the one that's going to come replace me, you guys don't want that. Like I've got the sacred timeline. I fixed it all. We're good." And of course, Sylvie has to go on off his ass, ruin everything. But I guess we wouldn't have the plot we have without her. But that whole Council of Kangs, and he's just relentless. Like he's not gonna stop. There's always another one right behind him.
Yeah, and they're just gonna get worse and worse. And then I think that this one that got obliterated in Ant-Man, he's gonna eventually come back and be the one that the other Kangs are even more afraid of. That lion that shows up and scares the rest of the pack off.
Yeah.
Have you played against who they dropped this month? Kate Bishop or Viv Vision?
I have not yet. I've not had a chance to jump in. I've been a little busy this month. But I've seen Viv Vision. She looks pretty cool. Like her phasing mechanic with when you parry or whatever. That looks pretty sick. And then I think it's pretty cool the stuff that they're adding in with timing actual attacks. And I hope they don't get too excited with that one to make it feel like the game is almost unplayable without actually doing that. But it's a cool mechanic. I just feel like it shouldn't be over abused, if that makes sense.
Ever since they buffed Hawkeye with that timing mechanic, something like where you got to hold your finger on the screen when you trigger the special, and then release at the right time. After playing for years and years and years and having that muscle memory, it's really hard for me to get my brain to make me hold my thumb on the screen to release for the perfect timing.
Yeah.
So I would agree 100%. It's a cool mechanic. I just hope they don't go crazy with it.
Yeah, I was listening to KT1 explain that as he did the breakdown for Kate Bishop the other day. And, his takeaway was pretty much the same as mine. Is it seemed like a cool idea when they did it with Hawkeye, but I find that it really screws up the flow of how I play, and it really takes me out of the fight, sort of. It throws off my general rhythm in a way that I can never time it I don't think that I've ever, if I'll put it this way, if I get a perfect release, it's 100% accident. It's nothing skillful that I've learned how to do over time. It's just, it's like happy accident
Right.
sort of thing. And I don't think it makes him easier to play, and I don't think it makes for more fun experience. You know what I mean? So what I do think that's cool about Kate that I noticed when I went to go fight her right off the bat, that first hit when you go to smash on her, she does that Elsa Bloodstone thing where she gets that passive. KB would probably know what I'm talking about. What's it called when Elsa? What's that?
Like the evade kind of thing? Is that what it is?
It's like a clapback evade though, because
Yeah,
like
I remember.
they don't just pop back. Then they instantly hit you with some sort of damage over time effect or something like that.
Yeah.
Mordo does
Right.
stuff
When you
like that.
parry him and you go in to attack him and he does the same thing.
He does a little astral evade. I'll dust you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he'll hit you with what is it? The SP1. I always get hit with his SP1. He always does that astral evade and then smacks me with the SP1.
Quicksilver will do it too. Yeah, a lot of people still don't know how to fight Quicksilver too well, so he's a monster on defense and BGs. I have him at rank 4 Sig 200. It's always like you parry that first hit, he's going to dex it, and then the little timer goes off. But so many people forget or just don't understand that, and he's got the same mechanic. So I found that with fighting Kate too. It's almost like it's like a parry intercept maybe. You parry them and then you go to attack and they intercept your attack, I guess would be accurate. Kate has been a pain. Vision has honestly been really easy in my opinion. If you use someone like Gallon who's immune to the power burn, or literally handy dandy, trusty, rusty old red mags, baby.
Yep.
Rushes Viv Vision.
I think I used white mags against her the other day and did just fine. And that's just me. I personally will probably always prefer white mags over red mags. I appreciate the pre-fight. Red mags is so heavily reliant on that parry heavy. It just seems so monotonous and boring to me. I feel like with white Magneto, he's got the extra benefit of the pre-fight. He does just about everything that red mags does, but he just seems like somebody where you're actually going to get into the fight and get rolling with it. It's not all relying on that one two count rhythm. Have you enjoyed some of the other ones though? I mean, who stands out really with last month?
Who was last month? Gosh, my brain.
That's a pretty good answer.
Yeah, honestly, they give us it's 2 champions a month. It's hard to keep up.
No, literally, like
Nobody can answer it.
No, I know. Like it's bad.
It was Cassie and future AntMan, and my face is so red because we all look confused.
I didn't even pick up future AntMan. Don't know anything about him. Haven't seen anything about him. Maybe that's just me being unproactive because I've been taking care of football and school and just all the other things in between, just trying to stay on top of that. I like Cassie. I think that shrinking mechanic is also pretty sick. Like how you can just evade those attacks by holding the shrink or whatever. So she's a cool character, but I don't know much about future AntMan.
Tried out Zemo.
Yeah, I think he's pretty cool. Those crit bleeds that you can get, kind of Nick Fury-esque. I love that. Nick Fury is one of my favorite characters. And he looks cool.
Personally, I think Baron Zemo has one of the coolest champ designs out of most of the people that they've released in the last year or so. He just looks cool as shit. He looks like if you mixed Kraven with Cobra Commander from the G.I. Joe comics. He just looks so dope.
Have you guys seen Karate Mike drop that video of rank 4 Zemo and more?
No, I didn't have a chance to watch that. Is it legit?
Dude. Yeah, one of my buddies in the Alliance, Too Extreme, he sent me the video and he's like, "You got to watch this, bro. He's the next one." So I was like, okay. I watched it. I definitely recommend checking out Karate Mike just destroying with Zemo. Everything.
Okay, I'll
Crazy.
watch that.
If you're going to take any of your favorite comic characters that are not already in the game, who do you want in the game?
Some of those options from the last Summoner's Choice, I think White Tiger would have been really sick. Everybody always complains about there being way too many spider characters in the game, but honestly, I like when they put those in. I think they're fun and change, and each one's different, and they have their own cool uses. Spider Punk would be sick to see too. Beta Ray Bill would have been cool.
Beta Ray Bill's a long time coming. He's going to be the next champ that they take out of the Summoner's Choice. They're just going to give him to us. It was
Yeah.
Nemo.
Yeah, we've said it before, but it sometimes people say things without saying things, right? And
Right.
tell me that you're bringing Beta Ray Bill without telling me that you're bringing Beta Ray Bill. Don't put him in the Summoner's Choice. You don't even let us vote on a character that's that huge that people have been requesting that hard for that long. Yeah, there's no way he's not coming.
Yeah, I totally agree. I saw LJ kind of start laughing when I mentioned Spider Punk, but I like to play the guitar too. Like that's one of the things I like to do outside of football and school. And to have a spider character that just kind of like runs around with a giant guitar, I don't know, that's intriguing to me. Whether he beats people up with the guitar or I don't know what they would do in the game, and it'd be interesting to see. But yeah, those are my answers for that question.
I just it as a kid who grew up listening to underground hip hop and going to punk shows, like I just fucking hate that dude on a cellular level. I like as a kid who grew up. I mean, you see me and I'm a dad, but I'm a tattooed dad, and you can probably guess that I used to be a fucking problem in life. And when I was a real problem, I grew up going to punk shows and catching black eyes and bloody lips and stuff like that, just generally from being there in the mosh pits and stuff like that. And I've seen legendary punk bands. And I just think that Spider Punk is like one of the worst attempts to pander to a different generation that Marvel's
I don't
ever.
agree with you at all there. And
Good God.
no, I agree with you on that, but I don't know. It's just like, and I'm not even like a huge punk, like metalhead, headbanger, like rock and roll. Like that's not me. But like I love playing the guitar, and I feel like that could be kind of cool. I don't know, just any ideas that they put in, they usually do a good job with. For the most part, let me say that in the game. But heck yeah.
I think that they were trying to make something different that would connect with the different crowd, but I don't know. When you make things so generationally specific or, specific to a certain subculture, I don't know. It just always seems so fucking corny to me. And so, like, I get it because I'm a musician too, but as a punk rock kid, a kid that like grew up having that be part of my heart, I remember the first time I saw him and I was like, oh, fuck you, Marvel. Like, you don't know nothing about punk rock. Like, fuck out of here. Don't do that to me. Don't play me like I'm stupid. Like I'm just going to sign up just because Dickhead has Liberty spikes and a leather jacket with the sleeves. Fuck off. Like, this is not why just because I go to punk shows doesn't mean I'm going to buy this new iteration of this stupid comic book. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, it just made me so angry. Like, and I've never warmed up to him at all. I just think he's so goddamn whack. It's crazy.
I think you've been an amazing guest, Ty, because I had like this whole list of questions that I wanted to ask you and stuff, but just you naturally talking, you've like hit all the points. Like you're answering questions I haven't even asked over here, and I'm like, all right, well, check that one off. And
Well, that's awesome. I seriously, I couldn't thank you guys more. I've had such a good time, and I think you guys are both absolute studs. I mean, you're both dads, and it's really cool to see that, people from completely different walks of life than me enjoy something like I do. But seriously, what you guys do is so cool. I think podcasts in general are awesome, and just having a chance to hear from different people, walks of life or whatever, it's been super fun, and I couldn't thank you guys more. Seriously, I've been looking forward to this forever. I was calling the compliance people months in advance, making sure that I could do this. I'm like, come on, please let me do this. Like, I'm not promoting myself, like, not promoting nothing. I just want to go hang out with these guys and just chat it up with them. But seriously, it couldn't have been any more fun. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, we appreciate you, brother. Before we take off, who's your real life superhero?
It's a no-brainer answer for me. It's for sure my dad. Don't you be doing that, LJ. Don't you be making me get all choked up. My real life superhero is my dad, without question. He grinds so freaking hard for our family to give us what we have, and gosh, he's such a stud. You guys think I'm a big dude? He's like a big dude. Like he's big dude. And a lot of the way I am is because of him. But my mom's also my superhero too. She's amazing. Both of my parents together. Definitely wouldn't be the person I am without them. So thank you for asking me that question for sure.
Families are like teams. They're like alliances. We win together, and
Yes.
so everyone's got their part to play, and everyone's got their special skills and their attributes that makes us a full, well-rounded team. And so I love that answer. I probably asked that knowing where that was going to go. A lot of people like to name their family and stuff, but yeah, you're not the only one that felt that. So I appreciate you coming on and being such a great guest, dude, and being so genuine and sincere. We'll have to have you on again someday.
I would love that. And I know you guys have had some way cooler people than me, higher ups in Marvel and some cool tattoo artists. But seriously, this has been so awesome just to be a part of this. You guys are absolute rock stars.
Yeah.
We appreciate you, brother.
I remember when we announced the podcast, Ty was one of the first ones. He's like, "Let me be on." He hit me up. I was like, "Absolutely, bro. We got to get you on." So I'm glad it came to fruition. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, man. It was cool to,
of course. Thank you guys.
To get to know a little bit more about you. That is one thing we usually do, like closing out the show. If people want to know like more about Ty, where do they go? Where do they go to get to know you? Be your Instagram?
Yeah, I think my Instagram would be a good place for that for sure. There's not a whole lot else that I have, honestly. Guess you could check my Twitter, but you're just gonna see a bunch of football stuff and me promoting my little brothers, saying that they're all better than me in every way, and just different stuff like that. But heck yeah.
You sounded like the true embodiment of Captain America over there, man. Your brothers on your back, you're promoting them and stuff, and you're very selfless, very genuine, like LJ said. So it's really cool. The people that play this game, and like that's what brought us three together is Marvel Contest of Champions. Be totally different dudes, and here we are hanging out over a video game. It's amazing. It's so cool.
Awesome.
Well, you'll be able to find all of the links for Ty for his social media. You guys can't see, but I always pantomime this where I look like I'm pointing at his screen. So what you're going to do is you're going to watch this YouTube video. You're going to scroll down to the more info. You're going to click that more info. You're going to see a bunch of links pop up. Go ahead and go over those. Hit those links up. Go see Ty. Get to know Ty and support him. And as long as Boise State's not playing your team, go ahead and root for Ty when you see him out there on the field.
There we go. Heck yeah. Go Broncos, baby. That's right.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. If you haven't by now, please do us a big favor. Hit that like and subscribe. It means a lot to us, especially like a small podcast starting out. So we appreciate all the support. We're truly grateful for everybody in the community that kind of supports us. And I thank you again, brother, for coming out. It's been a pleasure. Say coming out like we were actually in a location, but thanks for joining us. Sitting down, I guess, would be proper.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, if you guys ever want to run some incursions or just something fun for all of us to hang out again, that'd be awesome, and we could totally do that.
We'll take you up on that. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time.